The Enterprise Center is packed. The air is thin with that specific Olympic year tension. And standing in the center of
She is 26 years old in a game that has spent decades convincing the world that a woman's peak expires the second she turns 20. By all the old rules, Amber Glenn shouldn't be here. She should be coaching. She should be in the booth. She should be history. Instead, she is the main event. She just locked down her third straight US title, the first woman to pull that off since the legendary Michelle Kwan. And she didn't just win, she obliterated the record books, posting a short program score of 83. .05, the highest number ever thrown up in American women's skating history. But as the building shook with noise, Amber didn't look like a machine that finally solved a math problem. She looked like a woman who had finally mastered herself. Amber Glenn isn't just booking a flight to the Milano Cortina Olympics to participate. She is going there to prove that in 2026, longevity hits harder than a triple axel. She is proving that veteran status isn't baggage. It is a tactical weapon that no teenager has in their arsenal. And she is bringing the spirit of Sarah Hughes along for the ride. Figure skating usually worships the prodigy. We love the 15-year-old landing impossible jumps before they even have a learner's permit. But Amber Glenn, she is the story of the survivor. Her career hasn't been a rocket ship, it's been a war of attrition. Back in 2014, she was the US junior champ. The world was right there for the taking. Then came 2021, the breakthrough felt close, only to stall out. Then came the gut punch of 2022. She was the Olympic alternate, forced to watch the Beijing Games from her living room couch. For 99% of skaters, that moment is where the credits roll. You bow out gracefully and find a new life. But Amber did something radical. She stayed, she stared at the exit door and decided she wasn't done with the room yet. She took the discomfort of being the old skater and turned it into armor. And she didn't just hang around, she evolved. She realized the reason she was hitting a wall wasn't technical, it was all in her head. She had been skating to fit the Ice Princess mold, trying to satisfy a judging panel that wanted her silent, delicate, and compliant. She was trying to squeeze into a cookie-cutter idea of what a female skater should be, so she decided to blow the mold up. She re-emerged as the first openly queer woman to win a US title, bringing her entire messy, real self to the rink. She got loud about her mental health battles, her concussions, and the fact that she was defying the odds. She traded perfect for authentic. Ironically, that's exactly when the perfect scores started raining down. She told the Olympic press straight up, "I use my age to my advantage. I know what works for me now." At 26, her body is a high-performance Formula One car, and she finally has the owner's manual. There is a myth in women's skating that the locker room is a shark tank, that every girl is an island. In 2026, Amber Glenn is killing that myth with a tactical maneuver she calls the sisterhood. Check the tape from Nationals. When Elisa Liu, her fiercest competition, finished her routine, Amber was the first one at the boards with a hug. When Isabeau Levito was buckling under the crushing weight of the Olympic year, Amber was the steady hand pulling her up. This isn't just about being nice, it is high-level strategy. By acting as the big sister for Team USA, Amber effectively lowered the pressure on her own shoulders. When you focus on being the anchor for everyone else, you stop drowning in your own nerves. You flip the script from me versus them to us versus the moment. She calls it her skating sisterhood. It isn't just an American thing either. She talks about a global bond with other vets like Japan's Kaori Sakamoto and Belgium's Loena Hendricks. They are the old guard teaching the world new tricks. Amber has said she is incredibly grateful for skaters like Loena and Kaori for smashing those barriers alongside her. You don't have to be a teenager to win. We are showing the next generation that this sport can be a community, not just a cage. This sense of community is her ace in the hole. While the rest of the field is stressing over individual glory, Amber is riding the wave of a movement. It is hard to break a sisterhood, and it is even harder to beat a woman who feels lifted up by her rivals. Every great competitor chases a North Star. For Amber Glenn, that star is Sarah Hughes. The connection goes deeper than just fandom. Sarah Hughes won gold because she was the ultimate underdog. She wasn't the favorite in Salt Lake City. She won because she skated with such sheer, unbridled joy that the judges had no choice but to reward the soul of the performance. Amber is executing that blueprint with surgical precision. She has realized that at 26, her greatest asset isn't her vertical leap, it is her emotional depth. She isn't trying to out-jump the 15-year-olds by spinning faster. She is trying to out-feel them. She is skating to tracks that move her like a prayer short program. It is loud. It is mature. This performance demands the kind of grit only a 26-year-old can summon. Every edge she cuts is calculated. She stares down the judges with ice in her veins, not a hint of desperation in her eyes. She is not begging for a score. She is taking what is hers by sheer force of will. Insiders say she proved you do not need to be the golden child to finish first. She proved that when the frontrunners choke under the pressure, the underdog is ready to snatch the crown. In 2026, Amber Glenn stands tall as the fighter nobody bet on a decade ago. She is the last one standing from the empty rinks, making her the deadliest threat on the roster. With zero left to lose, she is letting her skates do the talking. Now consider the nuclear option, the triple axel. In this game that jump separates the contenders from the pretenders back in the Elisa Liu days, it was a weapon for the kids. It demanded pure snap and a tiny frame, so for Glenn to stomp a triple axel at 26 is basically defying physics. It is a bold rejection of the sport's obsession with youth, a total rebellion against the clock. At the 2026 Nationals, she was the lone woman to throw down a clean triple axel in the short program. Let that sink in. The savvy vet owned the hardest tech in the arena, schooling girls 10 years her junior, but her landing hits different these days. No frantic spinning here. It is grounded, it is forceful, and it screams of that grown woman strength coaches dream about. She leverages every ounce of muscle to carve a massive trajectory right across the frozen surface. Her grade of execution scores are through the roof because she is not just surviving the rotation, she is crushing it, and she did not even unlock that jump until she was 20. In skating years, that is practically like learning to walk at 50. But learning it late meant building technique on an adult body. It is built to last and does not rely on being a rubbery teenager. It runs on the raw torque of a pro athlete. It is living proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks and the jump is not a toss-up anymore. It is a guarantee. As she marches toward Milano Cortina, that move turns into a psychological sledgehammer. It screams to every rookie on the ice, "I'm still standing and I'm stronger than you will ever be." As the 2026 Winter Games loom, the question is no longer if she can make the team, but if she can grab a medal. The chatter has moved past her birth year to the reality of her reign. Glenn is peaking right when the sport is desperate for a new icon. She is jetting off to Italy as the oldest American woman to ever debut on Olympic ice. She is not showing up for a participation trophy or a feel-good story. She is there to hunt, and her 2026 free skate is a tactical nuke. It is stacked with high-stakes combos, backloaded into the second half. When the legs are screaming, that is where that veteran conditioning pays off. She is betting the house that 10 years of rollercoaster seasons forged a mental armor no teenager could possibly possess. While the kids might be white, knuckling through those 4 minutes of hell, Amber leans into the burn. She feeds off the crowd instead of shrinking from it. She masters the Olympic stage, knowing judges love a skater who looks like she is in paradise while pulling off the impossible. She says, "I am done with comparisons. I am not chasing hardware. I am the storm hitting the ice." That kind of mental freedom is absolute nightmare fuel for her rivals. You cannot break someone who already knows she has won. We live in a world obsessed with the shiny and new, the next prodigy, the baby star. We treat careers like milk cartons checking the expiration date before we even take a sip. But Glenn reminds us that the legendary stories are the ones that take years to forge. They're filled with chapters of defeat, of sitting on the bench, of grinding in the dark when everyone else went home. 24 years ago, Sarah Hughes proved the long shot could take it all with enough heart. In 2026, Amber Glenn is proving you win by refusing to disappear. She is showing the world that prime is just a mindset. When she steps onto that fresh sheet in Italy, she will be carrying more than just the flag. She represents every soul told they were washed up, everyone who was ever the backup in their own life story. She is the hero for the late bloomers and the rebels who chose being real over fitting in. The champion for the ones who just kept pushing. The hardware gets decided by the panel. The numbers get crunched by machines. But the legacy that is stone cold set. Glenn did not just make the squad, she reshaped the entire sport to fit her. She took a game built to break little girls and turned it into an arena for grown, powerful women. And in a world trying to dictate your ending, that is the gutsiest routine of them all. 6 months out, the scoreboard in Milano Cortina might be a blur. But the image of Amber Glenn, 26 years young, sticking a triple axel with a smirk that says, "I am still here," will last forever. Forget the crowd. Forget the world. The moment she stops performing for them and starts skating for herself, the arena becomes her throne. That time has come. In 2026, the ice finally belongs to Amber.